It's This Week in Anime number 26. This show is going to be a little longer to introduce some of the new anime that's coming out for this season. Please don't forget the accompanying article for the full breakdown of what happened in these series and more last week. So without further ado, let's get started. Kikai Sensing. This anime centers around a lucky but unlucky friend Leonardo Watch, the organization of strong fantasy joy called Libra, and his adventures in a new, twisted New York where humans and demons live together. Oh, and Leonardo also has a powerful, awesome set of eyeballs. This show isn't entirely focused on Leonardo, however, but on the different dangerous cases the organization Libra solves, such as last week a drug called Eshcole was being distributed around town. The team searched high and low for clues on the source of this trafficking rock but came up empty-handed. Finally, Klaus got a call from an old friend and we're introduced to a new character called KK. And together they turn to boss Don Arlell to get the information they needed, but he doesn't give up anything for free. Don Arlell exchanges information for hours spent playing his favorite game, Crossfire, an extremely complicated variation of chess that can literally break one's mind if they're not careful. However, Don Arlell has like several of those in his back pocket, so no problem there. Klaus proved once again why he's the leader of his crazy crew by surviving 99 hours of Crossfire to both get the skinny on Eshcole and save Grandmaster Alchico's ass, who lost his game despite wanting to kill Klaus. This anime is the type of action-packed, twisted mess that I love and is quickly becoming a favorite of mine. Gunslinger Stratus, the animation, is, as you may have guessed it, the animation of the video game titled the same. The story places us in a futuristic time where Japan is now known as the management district, and people are being killed by a disease known as degradation, which turns them into sand. This supposedly is happening because the world is coming to an end. However, it's not just this world, but another one as well that's suffering the same fate. Now the two worlds must battle each other so the victor can be saved by the timekeepers, and Toru, our protagonist, is caught in the middle of it all. I will hold my opinion on this simple ass plot and cut straight to the last week's show. In the last episode, Toru and Kyoko started and finished their battle training rather quickly and were immediately sent out to the battlefield of old school Japan with Kyoma and Sendu. The fight heats up quickly, and at a rather inconvenient time, Toru spots the ghost girl he's been chasing since the beginning of the series. Kyoma, Sendu, and Kyoko fight to give Toru time to catch the ghost and possibly figure out what it wants. However, the three get pinned down quickly and Sendu ends up sacrificing herself to save Kyoma, and judging from the size of the hole he put in her, she didn't suffer long. Next week, Kyoma either goes crazy or sinks into sadness, most likely both, in that order. Ghost in the Shell: Arise Alternative Architecture. One of my favorite series based on the few movies I've seen has returned yet again and is still just as awesome. This is supposedly the anime series of the Ghost in the Shell Arise movies, which I've never seen and will now binge watch. As for what's in the last show, we're taken back and showing how Motoko's team met during a case about her then superior Gichi Mamoru, who was murdered and believed to be taking bribes for weapons. Motoko was working to clear his name but ran out into constant walls, from Mamoru's body being stolen to her Unit 501 being told to back off to higher-ups being a royal pain in the ass. Chief Aramaki gave her a new job as a special consultant solving cybercrimes, which gave her the freedom to run around, whoop ass, and take names. Her investigation leads her to two of her current teammates, Special Crimes Detective Togasu and her old military partner, or at least that's what I'm thinking he is, Bato. Next week will probably be a little more about the history of the team or getting back to the current case. Either way, I'm glued to the screen. Allans Sinky is an anime about the fall of the Kingdom of Pars and the rise of Prince Allan as its new king, who's still a child, or something like that. In the last episode, deceit and treachery run amok as the king is betrayed by one of his own lords, and his army of thousands are burned and murdered in the war between the Kingdom of Pars and the Kingdom of Lithuania. Darian comes to Arslan's aid and saves him from being murdered by Carlin. The king sounds the retreat, but his messengers are killed and most of the army doesn't get the message. This left the king open to ambush, and him along with Darian's uncle, Lord Varys, were killed by a knight in a silver mask. Darian and Allans take refuge with former Lord Narcissus, a crazy painter. Next week, we learn about this man who's supposedly a great strategist. This anime seems to be yet another action-packed one that will probably go a little slower than what I like, but the story seems pretty good. Sorry for the End is an anime about a child, Hayakuya, and his path to gain revenge of the vampires who killed his family and friends along with most of the human race. In the last show, Shinoya shows Hayakuya her cursed gear and he attempts to fight her with his regular sword, but that doesn't go well. The bullies from the previous episode show up again asking for help for their friend who ventured into the Vampires Extermination Squad's training ground and was possessed by the demon that's kept within. Hayakuya sees an opportunity to prove himself yet again and rushes in to save the boy, which he does and ends up getting possessed himself, but his love for his family saved him. Next week, Hayakuya starts his training for the Vampire Execution Squad in hopes that Gurren will give him some cursed gear of his own. Classic Memories is an anime about our protagonist Tsukasa, his new job at the SAI Terminal Service, aka scrapping androids called Giftias that are at the end of their life cycle, and his partner, a Giftia, Isla. The problem is, in this day and age, Giftias are like family to their caretakers, many being the child or the friend you always wanted but never had. So the emotions run high when these guys show up to erase their memories and take them away, which is where the comedy comes in. In the last episode, Tsukasa is forced to move in with Isla per company policy, and things get off to a rather rough start. All Isla does is sit in her chair all day, never moving for anything but the restroom, and Tsukasa tries every trick in the book to get a reaction out of her. This dude even puts on a dress. Finally, he gets her to go out with him and try to have a good time, but even that doesn't go exactly well. We end with her finally opening up a bit at the end of the show and them having tea together. This anime is yet another that I'm not sure why I'm watching, but it intrigues me like Shigatsu wa Kimi no Osu did. Let's see if it turns out to be as great. Thank you for watching another This Week in Anime. I hope you did enjoy the show. Please be sure to check out the article for all the extra details about all these shows and more anime as well. Don't forget to check me out on my social networks, and also please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't. There will be plenty more content coming up on here of anime and tech. I'll see you guys in another video. You have a good one. Bye.
なんと素晴らしい曲だ。死んだら俺のせいになる。死ぬな、おい。死んだら負けたぞ。おい。じゃあ各自解散。連絡よろしく。